Dennis C. Absent. Drew Stevenson.
Here.
Okay. Next, it's reading and approving previous month's minutes.
I make a motion that we suspend the rules and dispense with the reading of the minutes.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye. Old business, there's none. New business. Rezone 6 parcels on Monroe, lots 268 to 273, and 3 parcels on Madison, lots 237 to 239, from R1 to R3. Who is here representing that motion? You want to come up to the podium, please?
Good evening.
Hi. Speak up. What is your name?
Jamie Astrup, and my business partner and I are wanting to develop this area, put some possible duplexes on there, so we'd like to change the zoning on that.
Okay. How many duplexes do you plan on putting in there?
Well, we're going to start with one to see if we can, cost effectively do it, and then if that works out, then possibly 4 to 5.
Sorry. It was way out of here. She couldn't hear you back there. Sorry about that.
Okay, where's the first one going to be?
Can I come up and show you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right next to this, there's a little mobile home, and then he's got one more lot, so we're hoping to put it right here in this area.
Okay.
268 to 270. 268.
Is there anyone here remonstrating against this? Nope. Okay. Does the board have any questions? Nope. Okay, I make a motion that we vote on rezoning the Monroe-Madison Avenue properties from R1 to R3. Roll call.
268, 269.
Rick Day.
Yes.
Joe Mullenix.
Yes.
Ron Rylance.
Yes.
Patricia Russell.
Yes.
Drew Stevenson.
Yes.
Sandy Fast.
Yes.
Okay, this will go to the city council next Monday night. They make the final decision. We're an advisory board to them.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
6 o'clock right here in this room. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
One down. Rezone 6 parcels on Circle Drive, lots 45 through 51, in the Bunnell's addition from R1 to B3. Who is here for that? Nobody? Okay, who's here against that? Bernie, you want to come up and...
Yeah, I just got you.
I have several notes here, so I'm going to read them to you.
Okay.
My name is Bernie Giver, and I have lived in the Bunnell subdivision now for 45 years after building my home there in 1978. Since I bought the last 4 residential lots from Bill Bunnell, Bill being the developer of the subdivision, he gave me the original plat survey of the subdivision dated April 26, 1950. And I have it in my possession with me, and I can share it with you. And basically, the outline in the plat shows that this is all zoned for residential development on 50-foot lots. There's nothing on here or anything in his plans or vision of having mini storage warehouses. I'm here tonight to protect the residential integrity of our neighborhood from being commercialized. The proposed Mr. Dillman project is less than 100 feet from my front door. I find that totally unacceptable. The property value of my home will drastically decline. The removal of the tree line and brush will disrupt the wildlife habitat and destroy a very effective windbreaker that we have. The tall chain link fence that's being proposed, the signage, the banners will distract from the beauty of our neighborhood. Increased traffic flow is a big concern of all the neighbors. This is only phase one. Additional structures are in the planning phase for lots 52 through 54, lots 43 and 44, all owned by Mr. Dillman. He has plans of building a 100 by 100 warehouse on lots 52 through 54 and additional storage units on 43 to 44. That's not on the proposal tonight. This is in future. The whole residential area to the west and to the north will be converted to warehouses and storage units in a residential area. Last week, I called the Kokomo Zoning Administration Office, and the city of Kokomo has a ban or a moratorium on building any more mini storage units in Kokomo due to the market saturation and the encroachment of mini storage units into residential neighborhoods. Their commission is now reevaluating the building standards and zoning codes when it comes to approving mini storage units in Kokomo. This is exactly what we're dealing with tonight. We need to ask ourselves, what is the master plan for Peru? Does it include rezoning residential subdivisions so mini storage units can be built next to our homes? Personally, I can't imagine storage units being allowed to be built in Parkview Heights or Golden Hills or Willow Creek or Wabash River Estates or even Hidden Hills, just to mention a few. So why approve mini storage units in my neighborhood in the Bunnell subdivision? If you did, we're setting a precedent for future developments in those other subdivisions. Dillman has several acres already along US 24 West, as we all know, where he could expand without bothering anybody. He already has 2 long storage buildings out there now with a security fence, security systems, and there would not be any elimination of trees or extensive excavation. And he could expand his ambition of owning more mini storage units at that location without bringing it into my neighborhood. Transfer of ownership to out-of-state investors is a legitimate concern also. Bolt Storage Company out of Chicago has bought up a bunch of storage units in Peru and Miami County, if you have observed that. They bought the ones at Big R, down on West 8th Street, in Bunker Hill, and the 2 storage units out at the air base. This is an out-of-state investor. What would prevent Dillman then from flipping or selling these units once they are constructed to an outside investor? And then what? It doesn't sound too good. And finally, is the city going to develop and maintain the rest of the land, including the 44-foot roundabout on Circle Drive? All that area is still undeveloped and still owned by the city. Right now, the proposal is just to vacate that triangle, but there's a lot more land there too. With that, I just want to thank you, and I just pray that you'll take all these objections under consideration before you make your final decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I live at Bunnell's Edition also. I'm sorry, I've never been to one of these meetings, but may I talk a little bit?
Absolutely. Come on
Everybody
up.
gets a chance to talk.
My name is Krista Zepenkowski, and I live at 9 Dolores Avenue, and I've lived there for the past 39 years. And a lot of the things that I'm going to mention, Bernie has already brought up, and I appreciate that. Bringing in such a big operation, such as storage units, would not be feasible in such a quiet, peaceful neighborhood that we have. There will be increase in traffic, most likely larger vehicles, and with the noise will disrupt the peace and quiet that we have now. Extra traffic would also be a safety issue. We have children at play, riding their tricycles and bicycles. Many people walk through the neighborhood and walk their dogs. Littering is also an issue. And some people, if they don't want what they have, they will just leave it. Several years ago, it was witnessed that someone from the units at the North Apartments dumped a large dilapidated mattress into the yard to the left of the yellow house there at the end of the street. It was there for several weeks. It rained during that time. I paid $15 to have a permit to have it hauled away, and my son drug it up to the alley so it could be picked up. They can also become a place for vagrancy and trouble to brew, as this has already been witnessed, and on the current ones that are on the north side there. Removing the trees and bush along the property line will disrupt the window to nature, deer, turkey, fox, rabbit habitat, and more. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that has anything to say? Yes, sir, come on up.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Tom McKegg, resident of 44 Albert Street. Have been at that particular location since 1974, so I'm rather familiar with the area. My concern in this whole process is, what is the master plan? And how does the zoning plan mesh with the master plan and the economic development plan? And is this particular switch from residential to a business area meshing with those plans? Is this something that is needed, more storage units for the city of Peru? As I view it, probably not. Therefore, I would say one need that we do have is for more housing, affordable, quality housing. And that is an area that we are looking at changing to business that would be ideal for the development of that kind of housing. So I would urge you to consider, in making this decision, to think about that whole plan and where residential development should be taking place. And I would suggest to you that that is a good location for it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else?
My name is Brent Wedding, and I live at 25 Dolores Avenue. And I'm not going to repeat everything that they've already said, but I agree with that, so ditto. But in addition to that, there are no storm drains in that area, and so we're at the bottom of a hill, and so I would be concerned about, you know, the movement of land, the elevation of land. Where's that water going to run off to? Also, so when you turn in between Mr. Weenie's and the hairstyling and the animal place, that road that runs in between the houses and the apartments is a rather narrow road. And it's really not even a road, it's more of an alley, and you can't get two cars down at the same time anyway. And then when you turn left onto Circle Drive or Circle Road is more of a narrow road. And again, there's no stop signs, no yield signs, anything like that. And so I would be concerned with the flow of traffic, U-Haul trucks, things like that, that would be maybe frequenting a storage unit development. And I just don't think that this little circle drive and Dolores and the oval that it makes is equipped to handle the increase of traffic that these storage units could bring and the type of vehicles that they would bring. And it just doesn't make sense. A lot of it has been already said about the overall plan. This is a very small housing development, and he is wanting to slap storage units in the middle of a housing development. It makes no sense. And I just had one last question. I don't know how it would affect or not, but I think he also wanted to vacate an alley, and the new fire station is right there too. Would that then limit, right now, the fire trucks could come out of the fire station and just cut through the alley and get to our houses much quicker. If that alley is vacated, would the fire trucks still have access to that alley if needed, or are they now going to have to go up onto Broadway, go through that intersection at Washington and Broadway, and then cut down? Would vacating that alley add, precious time that they would not have access maybe to that alley? Just a question as far as that goes for vacating the alley.
I think you're thinking of the wrong alley.
Is he wanting to vacate a different one?
This is the
Yeah.
alley here behind that property, next to the,
Next
Okay,
to
in between the field?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
I was
undeveloped.
thinking it was the other alley he wanted to vacate, so I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure about that.
That's over there, so.
And then my last concern, and I don't, you probably wouldn't think too much about it, but that property also comes catty-corner to the cemetery. And so, I don't know. I just think that it is not pleasant to be at the cemetery and look out and see security fences and storage units. So just wanted to put that out there as well.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that has anything?
I've lived on Dolores since 1981, and one thing I always have noticed that when they spoke about the drainage, there are 3 drain openings. 2 of them, one of them's by my house. It goes across the street to the valley or depression in the house across the street, and it goes over into the field and comes up in the field. And there's no way, if you close off too much of the surface of the field, you're going to start having buildup of water in that field if we have a heavy rain. So there would have to be something, if you wanted to do it industrial, you'd have to have a lot better drainage system for the whole area to save problems and trouble. And the other thing too is the way it is now, it's real quiet and the children have a lot of safety, and that there isn't much traffic coming through there because people that don't belong there don't come in there. And but I noticed if they paved that Jean Road, from the traffic light into the plan now, but it has a restriction of a telephone pole, so you couldn't bring anything down that way because you're going to hit the telephone pole at the bottom of the hill off of Broadway. And that looks like it goes right into what will probably be the main entrance to his storage sheds or whatever. And without knowing what restrictions or whatever, it's a bad operation for the people that live there, and
It is tight.
most likely
It is
a
tight.
lot of them would just move out eventually, further depreciating the land.
What is your name, sir?
William Vance,
Thank you very much, William.
huh?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
My name's Lorraine Overmeyer, and I'm here on behalf of my mother who lives at 32 Dolores Street. She's worried about strange people coming in, doing the storage stuff, and also tearing out the fence line and the trees, like has been said already, would disturb the wildlife. But she especially likes to watch the different kinds of birds that come, and they wouldn't be able to come if there was no trees and no bushes to protect them. So I guess that's all I really have to say. Everybody else has said everything that needs to be said. I just wanted to reinforce the thought about the wildlife, and the trees take years and years to grow.
Yes, they do.
They do.
And to take one out in one day, you've destroyed 50 years of growing and stuff like that. So that's a concern to me and my mother. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Diana Still. My husband Mike and I live at 33 Dolores, right between Bernie and Bill. So the empty lot is right in front of our house. The curb comes right into our home. So like Bernie said, those are just going to be right there in front of our door. And I believe it's going to lower our property value tremendously. Besides the traffic, I do feel would be detrimental. Along with, like he said, bigger traffic and noise with people getting in and out right there in front of our homes. So I would ask you to vote against that. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you very
thank
much.
you.
My name is Christopher Thomas. I'm speaking for my mother, Yvonne Thomas, who lives at 37 Jean. Her home that she's lived in for 32 years will probably be the closest to all of this construction. If they come across the street and build on the inside of the curve, then this is going to be practically in her yard.
Yep.
The new property butts right up against her. I fear for her safety. She has no family in town to help protect her. I drove an hour and a half to be here today to speak on her behalf. I can mention all of the things that the people previously have mentioned, but it's one of those things that I think it's important that my hometown looks after my mother, looks after all the people here, because I see the people living in this subdivision are young or elderly. And I think it's kind of important that we protect these people. These are the two groups that need the most. So I thank you for your consideration and telling Mr. Dillman to please build these things elsewhere.
Thank you. Thank
I'm
you.
so sorry, what was your name?
Christopher Thomas.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I want to double check.
Anyone else? Nope.
Okay, I did have a letter from, I know, there's a
Sorry, I
lot.
was just gonna go there.
There's so Carl Scholes lives at 511 Circle Drive, and he can't be here today because he had prior commitments. But he sent a letter to me, so I'm going to read it real quick. It says, "My name is Carl Scholes, and I am the property owner at 511 Circle Drive in Peru, Indiana. I have an across-the-street interest in the rezoning request file number 2023-0075 to rezone current residential property to business or commercial. I purchased my property over 30 years ago and have enjoyed a nice, quiet residential neighborhood. I invested not only in my home, but of an implied warranty of community and trust in my city zoning. I am impacted on two sides by this proposal, to the north as well as to the west. A residential neighborhood has homes and neighbors that live in homes. There is a reason for zoning. An area zoned commercial a few feet away can be turned into many things, much of which is mismatched with family living. How many of us would want to live next to what is proposed, let alone to what it will likely become? Why would it be okay to put a tall chain link fence, a strip of concrete and metal next to our front yard? I must request a prudent, common sense decision here. Thank you, Carl.
Okay. Does anybody on the board have any questions, discussion?
I do not.
Okay. Nobody else out there? Okay. Do I hear a motion to consider?
We'll make a motion that we consider
Okay.
this ordinance.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Haley, roll call, please.
Are we voting or are we considering?
We're voting.
Vote.
Voting?
Sorry.
Okay.
I thought we
Just
were
wanted to double
considering.
check here. All right. Rick Day,
No.
We don't do.
Joe Molinex,
No.
Ron Rylance,
No.
Patricia Russell,
No.
Drew Stevenson,
No.
Sandy Faust.
No. Okay.
Now, again, you know this is going to go to the city council on Monday night. So this is another chance for you to speak up. We are an advisory board of the city council. We tell them what we voted on. They still have their own vote to do, okay? So, kind of important.
Okay.
Yeah, the next couple things are to vacate that triangle and that alley that are on the other side of those lots. So I didn't know if you guys wanted to stay.
Vacate the alley, is that the trees you mean?
The trees.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the line behind the,
Where the big field is.
Undeveloped alley,
Yeah.
all trees.
Okay, so now we're going to discuss
I don't,
vacating the undeveloped
I'm not sure about that alley.
alley between parcel commonly known as 352 Blair Pike and lots 45 to 51 in the Bunnell's addition.
It's not here?
Does anybody have anything to say about vacating that alley?
Is it vacate this alley?
It's never, yeah, there's never been an alley there. It's all undeveloped. That's what we're talking about. It's all tree line and brush.
Yeah.
Right now, it's never been developed as an alley.
Right up against the farmer's field.
well, we have a lot of alleys in this town that really don't get used and so forth. This is a proposed alley.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, if we needed it, say somebody built a bunch of houses there and we need that alley because those are house spots or something like this, then we have that option. It's already set aside for us. Just like a lot of the north-south alleys that you see around here in town, those are good for utilities and stuff, but if people don't have utilities going down or not, we often close those. And, you know, because who needs a little alley that people can actually drive through
This one
right
here.
next to your house, type of thing, so.
Why is he wanting to do that?
He's wanting to close it so that way he has more room to meet the setbacks that he's wanting to do.
That is not very uncommon with something like
Right.
this. Normally you do that to get everything at one time done. So,
Triangle.
So-
and
to stay the same.
right.
He wants to do this too.
I'm pretty sure what you people told us, and I'm real confident
It's
with that,
two.
that pretty much we're opposed to all of this.
Yes.
Okay. Just, you know, then we don't have to have people keep coming back up, no, I want to talk about the house. Yeah. Fair enough.
If we're not going to give him, might as well vote no.
So, does the board have anything to say? Nope. Okay, let's take a vote on closing the alley behind all of
Those
the
parcels.
parcels.
We won't leave this.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Roll call? Okay. Rick Day,
No.
Joe Molinex,
No.
Ron Ryland,
No.
Patricia Russell,
No.
Drew Stevenson,
No.
Sandy Faust.
No.
Wow, most people don't do that to us. They usually throw stuff at us.
Money would be appreciated.
This is kind of nice. I might like start coming to these, enjoy coming to these again.
Yeah. Okay, the next thing on the list is vacating a triangle of land bordering lots 50 and 51 in the Bunnell's addition, which probably most of you know, it just kind of straightens that out. Does anybody have any comments, discussion?
Make a motion to vote, make a motion to,
Didn't the triangle and the alley didn't
Vacate.
go together?
No, they're separate parcels.
make a motion to take a vote on the triangle of lands bordering 50 and 51 in the Bunnell addition.
Second. Roll call?
Rick Day,
No.
Joe Mullenix,
No,
Ron Ryland,
No.
Patricia Russell,
No.
Drew Stevenson,
No.
Sandy Faust.
No.
All right,
Okay.
that is done.
I think we're all done with
Now
that
we're
group.
getting through that area.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
see y'all Monday.
Wording.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a long.
Yeah, right in here, 6 o'clock.
Yep.
Now we got a rezone parcel 52, common known as 1095. I don't see why not.
Okay, the last thing on the agenda is rezoning parcel commonly known as 1995 North Mexico Road. They would like to change that from an R3?
No, B3. B3 to an.
B3 to an I1. Okay, discussion. Is there anybody here representing that?
He was here. Hang on one second.
Oh, okay.
Who was here?
Did he leave?
So what,
He left.
what is the difference between the two zonings? B3 to R1, I1?
B3 to I?
Yes, what is the difference?
The differences?
Oh.
Oh, there's a world of differences.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
One of them is you have to have a minimum of 10 acres. There's only like 0.89 acres.
Yeah, it's not very big.
First off, to go to an I, exception A6 is 10 acres. Exception B6, which is required on this for a junkyard, reclamation yard, or whatever, is 100 feet distance. 1,000 feet from a residential, there is a residential house right next to it. There's dock restrictions. You need a 6-foot solid wall fence. They have a fence, but part of it is torn, dilapidated in the back. Building entrances, you can only have one off the street, but those are basically the,
Okay. That was the main one, is acreage difference.
so is anybody here representing this property?
Nope.
No, he was here. I don't know what happened to him.
Okay.
So the way it was explained to me is that he had, this property has had cars on it for years and years and years. And then we've been getting complaints on it up at the office, and that's why Rebecca's here. And so we found out that it was supposed to be zoned industrial. So that's why he's here, to try and get it to continue the use as quote-unquote a junkyard.
Was it originally zoned as junkyard?
We
Not-
didn't see anything where it was.
Yeah, we haven't seen it.
So it's
That thing has been there,
just been a guy's workshop for years,
yeah,
Right.
for years and
Right.
years and years,
but not a
and
junkyard.
Right.
So I've received a lot of complaints through code enforcement for the vehicles, the tall grass. We went and cleaned it last year. We mowed everything, and complaints came again already this year. I spoke with him last year, the gentleman who owns the building, and he was having medical issues, so we kind of put it on the back burner. He stated there was a legal court case that was ruled upon. That's not true. It didn't happen. So the city started the process, but nothing ever happened with it. So the action now is he either needs to get it rezoned, if you guys approve this, to make it a junkyard, or the city steps in and we start towing. So he obviously doesn't want that. And I told him that if he's serious about the junkyard restrictions, if you guys approved it, that everything would have to be behind a fence and that he should start moving some of those vehicles to show that he's going to do the right thing of what's necessary and required for that, and nothing's moved so far.
because we would have to give him an exception on almost everything here.
Exactly.
There's a house right next door,
It's less than 50 feet away.
He actually, so.
1,000 feet away.
I know, it's less than 50,
But
though.
go ahead.
So Vinod Gupta, he's an out-of-state investor, is the owner of that property, the house next door, but Mr. Tharp, who owns this building, is buying that house on contract. So the only person that would
So he
remonstrate
plans on
would be
tearing it
him.
down?
No, he is going to fix it, I think, but I wrote that property up as well, because it's
Well, yeah, it's still.
huge
within
code
1,000
violations
feet
there
of
as
a
well.
Industrial, which is, yeah.
Yep. So that's my part, that's it. Any questions?
I think I understand.
Do you? Good.
Well, I've looked at this a lot. Anybody else? Anybody here like to speak on this property here?
Nope. Anybody on the board have any questions? Okay.
I make a motion we vote on this.
Okay.
Second.
Roll call?
Rick Day,
No.
Joe Mullenix,
No.
Ron Rylance,
No?
Patricia Russell,
No.
Drew Stevenson,
No.
Sandy Faust.
No. Okay. Are there any public comments on anything? Nope.
That's not funny.
No, he doesn't count.
Yeah, I saw him raising his hand back there. No, no.
Do not.
Yeah.
Okay. Make a motion, we adjourn?
Second.
Second.
There's
All in
there's
favor?
another.
Aye.
Aye.
There's another meeting.